Jordan, Mike called you a warrior for the way you've come back from your injury. Could you take us through what warrior-like qualities you exhibited?
Yeah, fractured the bottom of my thumb in one-on-ones, probably like the fifth or sixth practice. Just been out a couple weeks. It's been tough to sit back and kind of watch, but at the same time, give me a lot of perspective, give me a lot of excitement coming into the season. Get to start practicing again tomorrow. I'm excited for this week of joint practice against Tampa Bay, and super excited where this team's headed. It's been fun to kind of take a step back and really watch and see how this team works. And it's been fun to watch, and I'm excited to get back out there and play.
What have you observed about this team watching them?
Yeah, just the work ethic, the way they practice, talking on the defense side of the ball, the way guys are getting to the ball, the way guys are communicating. With this being a new system, with Weaver coming in, just seeing it grow and seeing it come to fruition. I know we still have a lot of games left to play, but after watching over the last couple of days, over the last couple of preseason games, it's an exciting team, exciting defense to be a part of.
Jordan, we hear a lot about offensive line, five guys, they need continuity, they have to work together. Is it the same way in the secondary? It's five guys with the nickel. Is it more important, just as important for the secondary? How do you judge that?
Yeah, I think in any sport you play, that communication, that camaraderie between the guys goes a long ways. So being able to just be on the same page each and every down, understanding the game, it's 4 quarters of football. It's not always going to be perfect, even though you'd like it to be, but at the same time, being able to come back to center, come back grounded after a play, good or bad or indifferent, and be able to communicate with each other what we saw and move on. Ultimately, that's the game of football. So, like I said, it's been really fun growing with this group of, with this defense, with this group of DBs, with this team since I got here in OTAs. And, like I said, I'm really excited about the season.
What's your level of, pain tolerance with that? 'Cause it feels like one of those injuries where, anytime you do something.
Yeah, I'll be straight. I've dealt with a lot of pain in my past injuries before. I had a lacerated kidney, had a couple knee issues, but I'll be straight. I'll be straight. Excited to get that back out there and playing again.
Have you missed time now being with a new team, new defense? Do you feel you've gotten the necessary mental reps? And how big is this week to get incorporated into the defense?
Absolutely. And, every chance I got, I was in the walkthroughs, out at practice, just, like I said, watching how our team plays, how our defense plays. Anything that I seen in practice, always standing next to the guys and make sure that, I'm getting the coaching points from them, from the coaches, from Slow, from Duker. And, again, I'm excited to play. I got a quick taste early on in training camp. Just how fun this is, how fun it is to be down here. What a cool opportunity it is for me and my family, and a cool opportunity for this team. And you can feel the energy throughout the building. You can feel, like I said, I wasn't here last year. I didn't know what training camp was like, but this is definitely, you can feel the energy and exciting times.
Jordan, do you think you'll play in this preseason game, or do you not?
I'm not sure. Leave that up to Mike. If it gave me the green light, I'm gonna go out there and play. If not, I'm gonna support my teammates. So either way, I'm excited to play football again.
I had a similar question to Calais earlier. Both you guys have been in the league for a while. You've probably had all kinds of coaches. Do you respond more to a coach that tears you down or one that builds you up like Mike?
Definitely one that builds you up. I don't know. That's a weird question because, I feel like as a coach, it is part of your responsibility to build your players up and to give them confidence to be able to go out there on the football field. And, not all coaches are like that. But at the same time, there are ways to get your message across, guys, grown men essentially, without having to be negative. And I think that positivity goes a long way. That confidence goes a long way. When somebody believes in you, that was, partly of my story, coming in as a 7th-round pick, 218, pick number 218, coming into Philly. Didn't really have anybody that gave me that confidence to say, hey, you belong in this league, until I got to Cleveland. When I got to Cleveland, there was a coach there, Bobby Babich. He told me I belong in the league. He told me that I can play, and really it was that moment right there where it gave me enough confidence to continue to put that step in front of the other and not doubt myself, and just being able to go out there and play and trust my instincts and play the game that I love.
Jordan, you played against this Dolphins offense the past 2 years. Now being on the same practice field, we've heard that they're pushing the limits, they're changing X, Y, Z. Without revealing any secrets, have you noticed some differences when this offense now seeing it every single day?
I'd say it like this. I'm glad I'm on this side. Because game planning against that offense is already hard. Seeing a few new wrinkles, a few things that they've done in from OTAs to training camp. Obviously, with the players that they have, I'm glad I'm on this side and I ain't got a game plan for them no more. So it's a fun offense to watch. It's a really tough offense to go against. But their speed, their timing, the way they work, they're making us better, and we're trying to do the same to make them better.
And yet the Buffalo defense did pretty well against this offense.
Yeah, I've told all the guys, though, it's extremely hard to game plan against that offense, though. You have to be right on every play, because one misstep, one miscommunication is explosive play touchdown. So, but it's a fun offense. You see Tua dropping back and just throw. We're in the joint practice the other day, and I'm watching practice, and I'm looking on the other side. I just see balls flying in the air, Tyreek running down, catching it. It's it's crazy. But yeah, I'm glad I'm on this side.
Jordan, being here for a training camp, I'm wondering if you've noticed anything about the heat and humidity, what it does to, I guess, Atlanta and Washington when they came in. We remember the game that you guys had a couple of years ago. And can you come up with ways to use that to your advantage?
Absolutely. I've trained down here over the last 8 years in the off season. So the heat, I always thought that the heat was harder to play in than the cold, especially if you're not used to it. But I think as you've gone through training camp and you get used to this heat, it's definitely, to me, I feel more of an advantage than it would be going to playing in the cold. That's to each his own. That's just me. There are ways I feel like playing in the cold that you can stay warm. Playing the heat, there you can't run from it. It's going to be hot the whole time. So that is for sure an advantage that I believe that this team does have, because I remember coming here 2 years ago when I played in Buffalo, and that game that Miami ended up winning, that was a hot game, and I don't think that the team at that time was ready for that. So being able to be out here in training camp and really grinding these 100-degree days, it really makes something out of you. Really find out a lot about yourself, a lot about your teammates, and a lot about your team. And so we want to use that to our advantage.
So you'd be grateful to be on the shaded side of the stadium?
I'm grateful to be where the sun is at. So I don't really care if it's on the shade or in the sun. I don't care. The sun is out, the palm trees are here, the water is flowing, so it's good.
Jordan, there's a lot of talent in that DB room. You, Jalen, Kendall, Javon. What's been the message for you guys? Because I'm sure there's high expectations. There's a lot of eyeballs on you. What's been the message that you've shared to one another to make sure you guys are all going to be ready?
It really just communication and understanding the flow of the game. It's not always going to be perfect, but being able to come to the sideline and make the adjustments, and it's never one person's fault more than the other. It's a collective group, and really just staying together, through the good, the bad, the indifferent. There's not going to be a perfect game, a perfect season. You want to go 17-0. We'd all love to go 17-0. That'd be great, but there might be a game that you drop, and there might be some lessons that you need to learn from that game. And so being able to be a man about your business and collectively come together to solve those issues and stay together and staying on that straight line throughout the season, throughout the good, throughout the bad, the ups and the downs. It's been really cool, like I said, to grow with this group of DBs since OTAs, and I'm really excited to continue to grow and learn from them, and it's been fun.
Jordan, you've been on teams with Super Bowl expectations. The owner of the Dolphins, Steve Ross, during the game Friday, right? Was on the broadcast. Saturday. And he was saying that if this team stays healthy, they should be Super Bowl contenders. Do you think that it's healthy and productive to talk about that goal, to say the word Super Bowl, or should you just go one game at a time? What's your view on that?
Are you asking me to go against what Mr. Ross said?
No. I'm asking your personal opinion. I know we're both part of that.
I don't know how to answer that. I mean, obviously, the goal is obviously Super Bowl. If you're not playing to win the Super Bowl, why are you playing? And that's every team's goal. Well, there's going to be one team holding that trophy up at the end of the season, and, you know, every team thinks that they have a chance. Obviously, on paper, yeah, this team is up there in the top 5 of all teams if you're looking at it on paper. That really doesn't mean anything. That didn't mean anything when I was in Buffalo. That didn't mean anything on any of the teams that I've been on in the past, you know, because injuries, like you said, and then, you know, when adversity happens, you know, when those moments come up, whether it's in a game, within a week, within a season, you know, how are you handling those moments? You can be the most talented team in the world, but once you take a loss and, you know, fingers start getting pointed, you know, this way or that way, then your team starts to, you know, come apart. It's the teams that are, you know, the talented teams that are able to stay together, you know, through those adverse moments, through those bad times in the game, bad times throughout a week. And those are usually the teams that you see playing in the playoffs at the end of the season. And so, you know, just being able to stick together. There's going to be injuries. You've seen it throughout the preseason. There's going to be people that go down, and that's just part of the game that we play. But being able to stick together through that is what's important.
What have you seen from Marcus May this camp?
Man, he's always been a player that I've respected. Just playing against him when he was in New York. Played against him a couple times when he was in New Orleans. A player that I've respected, watched some of his tape, and you can tell that, you know, he's started a lot of games in this league. Just his demeanor, his way he goes about his business, his ability to tackle, his ability to communicate. It's been fun to play alongside him and to learn from him. And you know, he's a huge asset to this team.
Calais, it's obviously a lot of competition for backup jobs in that defensive line or roster spots alongside you and Zach. With Brandon, a young guy, he's had some plays. What's he like about Brandon Peely?
He's a much better athlete than you think. Looking at him, you think he's gonna be just a strong, powerful guy, and he turns around and like does some athletic stuff. It's like, wow, he ain't supposed to move like that as big as you are. But yeah, he's a great athlete. Sometimes you got to remind him, you know, play with that strength a little bit too, because you are strong too, you know. But he does a good thing of both. Very talented guy, you know. This whole D line, we have a very talented D line. A lot of young guys just trying to earn, you know, trying to develop their talents and earn their opportunity. But I mean, it's gonna be a competitive roster, you know. Excuse me. I don't know what they're gonna do. You know, I mean, this is probably one of the fewer where, like, you know, like the kind of jobs are up in the air. Like, you kind of usually have an idea who's going to make the team, who's going to be playing beside you. But right now, like, it's pretty close. You know, I don't know.
You've played for a lot of coaches throughout your career. Have you ever played for a coach whose positivity radiates like Mike McDaniel? I mean, some coaches motivate by fear, by criticism. He seems to motivate by positivity.
He is unique, you know, to say the least. I mean, he definitely is just a very positive, you know, just happy to be here, you know, every day you could tell. And it is, I mean, energy is contagious, you know, so, I mean, it kind of just it rubs off, and it's like, yo, you know, we all kind of get happy to be here, you know, because it is a get-to job, you know. There's a lot of people out there, or, you know, that wish they could have this opportunity. You know, a lot of guys that I played with that, you know, got out of the league, you know, wish they could still be playing, you know. And you never want to take one day for granted. And there's a lot of guys right now competing for jobs. And, you know, a few weeks from now, it's going to be a whole different locker room, you know, and that's, you know, also surreal. But right now, you know, we just got to enjoy the journey where we're at right now and, you know, make the best of it. And he does a good job of making sure we keep that energy.
You've been around a few teams, off seasons and training camps. Is this different? Any different?
Well, I mean, we work, you know, you know, when I first got here and when I was kind of deciding to come here, you know, I heard a lot of stories of different things, and people, like, there was one of the things people said, like, you know, it's a little easier there. And I'm like, I don't know. You know, I mean, from what I saw when I came to visit, you know, I got to watch a, you know, OTA practice, And then like talking, you know, Weave and kind of getting the schedule and stuff, I was like, I don't know if I really believe that. And then now being here, it's like, it's a lot of game reps, you know. Now the schedule might not be as long, you know. There might be, you know, he tries to take care of the guys a lot. But when we practice, I mean, we're getting good quality, high like level reps, which I think is very beneficial, you know, especially early in the season. That pays off. You know, just, you know, you're going to be a lot further along. You know, now once you play a few games, everybody kind of gets in that game shape, you know, but I feel like we do a really good job here during training camp of really getting, like, game quality reps, you know, close to as you can get in practice, because obviously nothing like playing in the game. But, yeah, I think that helps with preparation and really helps with evaluation, too, so you can see what guys, you know, belong on the team.
The question I asked earlier, do you respond better to someone who's on you or someone who kind of lifts you up?
Me personally, I am very self-motivated. You know, I don't really need a lot of motivation. You know, I mean, I think the biggest thing is making this a fun place to work. You know, I think that's a good thing, and I think, you know, Coach McDaniel does a really good job of making it a fun place to work. But you know, I respond well to every circumstance. I've had a lot of coaches over the years. I've had the positivity, I had the negativity, I had everything in between. And you know, I think the biggest thing is really, as a football player, you get to decide like what kind of player you're going to be. You know, and I've always kind of been the guy where like I don't really need the coach to tell me what I did wrong. Like I know every mistake I've made usually like right when I make it. And some of that is experience. I had this mentality when I was, you know, a young buck, but it developed. And but I know my mistakes. And like, you know, sort of, you know, really it's just like an echo when the coach says it, you know, and I think a lot of times coaches know that too, because I'm usually kind of telling them, hey, I made this mistake from here and there, and I usually corrected it before I'm off the field. So,
if I'm not mistaken, you drew a holding call on Saturday, right?
No, I did not draw a holding call. I think Payne drew a holding call on one of them. There might have been some other opportunities there, but yeah, I only played the first couple plays, and I almost batted the ball, but I didn't really make any plays. It was one of those quiet days. But you know, the biggest thing for me is kind of just getting through healthy. You know, I wanted to get through healthy and, you know, just get through that routine. You know, because it has been a whole year since I've had to get ready for a football game, and so kind of going through that routine. You know, especially a night game, because we're going to have a lot of night games this year, is just trying to get a feel for how things are going to be for those night games. So that pays dividends.
So it seems like those preseason games, while you only might play a series or two or a few downs, there's more to that preparation than just what you do on the field. It's like an all-day. What does an all-day prep look like?
Yeah, and it's more than just like, you know, like, you know, I played 7 plays. Those 7 plays are, you know, it was good work. It was quick and easy. You know, it was, you know, a little bit of physicality, but it was exactly what I needed. But you go to like the whole day, you know, getting ready to play. That matters. You know, where, you know, just that structure of your day, you know, how you're going to do things. Like I've done it quite a bit, but it's kind of like re-establishing, okay, this is what, you know, what works well for me. This is what I want to do, you know, and then, you know, what time to get to the stadium, what time to start my warm-up preparation, what time, you know, how much is really just the way things are done here, you know, with how everything's structured, getting the layout and the lay of the land. So, because I mean, there's, you know, seeing the chiropractor, you know where I'm going to get the rollout, you know, if I need to get an IV, where, you know, how everything's going to be going, and all that stuff is just kind of like a, you know, I mean, you know, every place is a little different, so you kind of got to get a feel for it. So going through that process was really good.
This team as an opponent last year, and now you're here seeing the offense on this team. I'm curious, there's so much motion and things that go on pre-snap and post-snap in this backfield. What does that do to a defender's eyes in your position, how this offense attacks looking defense?
Yeah, it's one of the toughest things you can do, because, you know, you usually want to look for pre-snap information, especially a guy like myself who has the experience to take advantage of pre-snap information. You know, a team like this, you know, they don't really allow you to do that, because they're doing so many things that you kind of got to just, you know, just play your technique and, you know, just read your key and just kind of go forward. You know, you really can't see and get advantages that way. So kind of it limits you to going back and just playing like kind of just regular day one ball. And for someone like me, that hurts, because it's like, yo, that's the best part of my game, is being able to see things before it happens.
Well, when you look at the roster, I don't know if you've seen it, when they go to defensive line, they're all listed as defensive tackles, not a defensive end. Would you see yourself as the roster trims down, going down and playing inside over a guard, maybe not over the center, but over the guards during the course of the game?
In this defense, I'm going to be more over guards, more so than anything else, I think, over the course of a whole game, especially when you get into because the game is played in 11 personnel, and 11 personnel, most of the time, the outside linebackers become ends, and the ends become tackles. And so, now there'll be some packages and stuff where I get to say we're on the tackle on 11 personnel, or tight end sometimes too, but for the most part, I'll be interior.
I want to ask you about, you're amazing in your 30s, 37, played 712 defensive snaps last season. Have you and Austin and Anthony talked about whether that's a good number for you again this year, a year older? Do you want to lower that number a little bit?
Yeah, we haven't really discussed it, but they're always trying to protect. Usually I have to fight for extra reps. Because it's been a few years now where they're like, we want you fresh in the fourth quarter, we want you fresh, later in the season. Hopefully going to the playoffs, we want you fresh. And I'm like, trust me, I know my body, I'm ready to go. I'll let you know if I'm getting too many. And a lot of times, the sweet spot is usually around 35 to 40 plays a game. Depending on how many plays you play, of course, but some games more, some games less. But, that's usually kind of where I feel like I can still be a predominant and productive player. But, in this business, you just try to, help win ball games any way you can. The biggest thing is, when the game is on the line, critical moments, I like to be out there and having the chance to help win a ball game.
I'm wondering what you think about training camp now, the way that it's structured, as opposed to how you came up originally, and do you like it now, where the veterans, you get most of your work in the joint practices and kind of the youngsters play the preseason games? Is that the best way to prepare the entire team, or should training camp be shorter and maybe the youngsters come in earlier and the vets come in late? What do you have thoughts on
there's
that?
always ways to improve, training camp and stuff like that. And it's completely different than when I first got here. I think this structure is better than what it was back then. Now, the game has changed too, though. We play so many more plays now than we did back in 2008. And so practices have to change too for that. But I do like this structure, and I actually could like competing against, I know a lot of times in the PA stuff, a lot of back and forth when it comes to, these joint practices. But I don't mind the joint practices because you get more of a game-like kind of rep that you wouldn't get in practice. And then also, you just kind of break up the monotony of going against the same guys over and over again. And there's like a balance of like doing what wins versus doing things that help you get better for the other teams you're going to play this year. And so when you get to go against other people, it kind of gives you that, different variety of things. And it also helps you like work on your preparation, like seeing things, working on cues and stuff like that can help me get an advantage versus going against the same guy. I know what they do, I know all the cues, I don't get to work mentally as much.
Owner Stephen Ross said that he believes his team, if healthy, can compete for a Super Bowl. We know that's what you're here for. Do you appreciate hearing that from the ownership level on down?
Yeah, because usually, any organization, it starts from leadership and rolls down, and and so him believing it and doing the things required to help us have the opportunity is important. And then going, the head coach sets the tone for everything, and he's done a really good job of setting the tone of kind of just having that mentality where we're going to be the best version of ourselves all the time, and hopefully when we get to rolling and stuff, we'll put ourselves in a position to have a chance. Obviously, I don't think anybody in this building, thinks it's going to be an easy route. I don't care how talented you are. The AFC as a whole is a gauntlet. A lot of teams that are talented, a lot of teams that are hungry to have a chance. We just know that if we continue to, practice the way we're practicing and dedicate ourselves, we'll have a chance when it matters. And that's all you really ask for is a chance. And then, we hopefully play our best ball at the right time. But it is nice to know that the whole organization really believes. And I feel like when you have that belief that you can do it, it makes you just go a little bit harder on the small things.
I think the most encouraging thing is that we've been able to execute a lot of the things we wanted to get better at that we kind of stated in OTAs. And, we addressed them in OTAs. Some of them carried over from last year. Some mistakes we wanted to get better at. I feel like coming into camp so far, we've done a good job of excelling at the things we feel like we need to get better at as an offense.
Like what would be at the top of that list, do you think? What couple things?
For the offensive line, I would say some of those things is like our second level blocking, like blocking linebackers, being more consistent in our identifications because we have a lot of motions. We're a timing offense. We try to disrupt the defense. So with that, we need more knowledge of what's going on in the back end, as offensive line. That's huge. And just not some of our fits, but our fits on the defensive linemen after the whistle. So there's like a type of strain and a level of blocking in our offense where we have to be on angles to be identical with the running back. So we just got better at, being on those angles longer.
How did you feel Saturday night? That first drive went for you and the rest of the O-linemen that were in there.
I was feeling good. I was feeling really good. I'm glad we finished it with the touchdown. I just looked back and saw it was a 4th down touchdown, too. I didn't know that. I was just locked in going. Feel good about that. We were all ready to play the whole game if need be. So it's exciting to get some reps under our belt to propel us for the season.
Austin, I know you're not an individual guy, but you've got your contract extension and everything like that. Are you looking at Pro Bowl, All-Pro, winning a playoff game? What are you looking at now individually?
Just playing my best football, doing everything I need for the team, and all those accolades and stuff that you mentioned, I feel, will come with me playing my best football. So that's what I'm focused on, is doing my job every play, making sure my technique is at its best every single play. For 18, 17 games, however long it takes. We're really 21, but so however long it takes.
Austin, I think Alex said last week that you guys are really pushing the limits of what this offense can do. I see you nodding your head. So what does that entail? And what does it look like when the number one offense in the NFL pushes itself even further?
Well, kind of what I touched on in an earlier comment, we made adjustments on some of our plays that became a little bit, I would say, predictable, just because we had a lot of, word just left. We had a lot of success with some plays in the season, and it's the NFL, so coaches are smart, they adjust, and I feel like we did a great job on our end adjusting to their adjustments. So, causing an issue, causing more adjustments is what we want as an offense. And as players, we have to take in, that new instruction and execute it. So I think we've done a good job at that.
In the NFL, I guess, where's the challenge in finding that balance between you have to adjust to what they're adjusting to versus we do this really well and this is our brand?
You're right. There is a fine line. There's standards that we have on the offensive line. Really, every room has a standard. So if you make a mistake, you want to be making a mistake in a certain way, if that makes sense. You don't want to make a mistake passive or with bad technique. If you're going to get beat, it should be like a hats off to the other guy type of thing. There shouldn't be anything within our realm that we can control. So that's like a big focus on, how you keep getting better and deal with whatever adjustments you may need to make in game or in practice.
Austin, you mentioned that playing a 21-game season. Your owner, I don't know if you know, during the game, he said if you guys stay healthy, he expects you guys to be Super Bowl contenders. I'm wondering, do you personally talk about Super Bowl? Is that healthy for you personally to mention a goal that lofty, or how do you handle that?
I think it's good to mention. To be honest, because you need something to work towards. You have to understand the weight of that. You can't just talk about it, though, too much. You can't just say we want to go to a Super Bowl and expect to go there. You set goals for that goal, and you accomplish them along the way. It's like a checklist of everything we want to execute every game, and that's what we're working for. But for me personally, I like having that goal to look forward to, which is a reminder of why we do it.
Now you're several years into the league. When you look at a rookie like Patrick Paul, do you see a little bit of yourself thinking back to 2020? You were that same rookie.
I was that rookie, honestly. He's got it all: his size, smart, great feet. There are some learning lessons adjusting to blocking NFL defensive ends, which he's picking up pretty fast. And I definitely try to tell him everything I can, as I just, had some experiences with that myself, in my younger playing years. But he's got it all, man, and he's got his head on right, so I think he'll adjust great into this league.
Tua mentioned that it's taken 2 years to overcome some of the self-doubt that was sown in previously in his career. I'm curious, with you being in the same class as him, what has the bond been like for you guys? Because he mentioned that's something that happened with several players, that they've overcome self-doubt since they've been drafted. So what kind of bond do you and Tua have in that regard?
Well, yeah, just going through what we went through, it forces your confidence to grow. And that's actually a really great thing at the end of the day. I'm grateful to have coaches that stand beside us and, encourage us to be confident and execute while also keeping it real with us.
Mike obviously is only going to show so much with your 12 personnel sets. Here we see Johnny running some. Are there things, without telling us what, are there things up his sleeve and Frank Smith's sleeve and Coach Embry's with you and Jonnu together that you're excited to see how they will do come September and October?
I think just looking at, Mike, Frank, Embo's history of, really emphasizing the talents they have at positions, whatever they might be, tells you that I think there is, a lot to come. And we're excited about what we have in our room in terms of just different talents, really with all 6 of the guys that we have here right now. So I'm sure they have a ton of stuff up their sleeve. They always have in the past. Probably some stuff we haven't even seen yet. So it'll be fun to see how that kind of evolves as the season goes.
The tight ends they've signed as undrafted rookies over the last 2 years. We know how physical Julian is. You've called him maybe the most physical guy. Does Hayden have some of those qualities? What's impressed you about him?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's a very mature rookie, and I've said that about a couple guys the last couple of years, but he kind of continues the trend. He has done a great job of absorbing, a lot of stuff being thrown at him as a rookie. And it's funny, from the day I saw him in whenever it was, March or April to this point, he's come a really long way. And I think, what he's been putting on tape the last 2 weeks in these last 2 preseason games has been exciting. And I think he's an NFL football player. So that's exciting to see.
Kind of, unfortunately for me, I'll always put my ignorance on display. What is the team security? What's the origin of that?
The team security is, I'm a big supporter of that program in this building. Drew Brooks and Larry, the guys that kind of run that show. I've gotten close to them, and I've been here long enough that I kind of consider myself to be a part of that facet. A player, but also a part of team security, just protecting this organization. So it's really just a couple good guys that I like being around, and we have some fun.
What kind of ways have you seen Julian Hill improve from year 1 to year 2?
I think in all facets. He's a guy that I think I said a couple weeks ago, it really sticks out how much this means to him and how this is priority 1 far and away for him. And he came in with, talents, he's a strong kid, fast, whatever, physical, but he's gotten so much better at really everything along this last year. Whether it's, catching the football, timing in terms of the run game, things that kind of come with experience, and he got a good amount of that last year. And he's really improved in all facets, like I said, and I'm really excited to see, what his ceiling is, because I don't think we've seen it yet.
You've kind of become an elder statesman in this organization where, there's no active streak of longer than you and I guess Jason Sanders, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's crazy to think that. I feel like I got here just yesterday, but when you think back, it's a couple coaching staffs. It's been a while, but it's cool. This organization's come a long way since I've been here. A lot of good people have come and gone and are still here. So I just I feel lucky that I've been able to be a part of an organization like this for so long.
There's no nameplate in your locker that says longest tenured, but do you ever feel it? Are you made aware of it ever? Does anyone ever say something where that thought that David just brought up occurs to you much?
It's been brought up a couple times just randomly in the last couple months, but it's funny because it almost surprises me every time. It's like, wow, it doesn't feel like I would be the longest one here, but like I said, it comes back to just feeling lucky to be a part of an organization like this with so many good people, not only that have come and gone within the coaching staffs, but in the the player department organizations. Like I said, the security team, the people in the cafeteria, the people that run the media, the people that have been here as long as I have. I feel really lucky to be a part of an organization for this long with people like that kind of behind the scenes.
Sounds like something Mike would bring up randomly.
Yeah. Well, I bring that up to him. Yeah.
I guess keys to being kept on an NFL team for many years, if you're not a Pro Bowl player, you seem to exude a lot of them in terms of smart, reliable, hard worker. What in your mind are keys to that to being a prolonged half a decade and beyond player in a very unstable business?
Yeah, I've been asked that a couple times, and when I think about it and actually break it down, I think it comes down to a couple things. In its simplest terms, I think it's being consistent every day. Not being someone who gets too high or too low on a day-to-day basis. You know what you're going to get basically. And number two, it's being able to adapt, because every year you're in the same team, you're in the same organization, but it's a new team every year. And I've had a bunch of different roles in the last 7 years, and it's being able to adapt to what personnel we have on a year-by-year basis. Taking the role they give you and trying to be the best at that you can. And I think if you do those things, you're consistent and you adapt to whatever role you're given on a year-to-year basis, you have a shot to stick around for a little while.
Not to beat the elder statesman story into the ground here, but
making me feel old, man.
It's ironic, right?
Yeah.
You have been here though for one of your teammates, Tua's entire career. From this side of the podium, it didn't seem like he was that vocal of a leader, of a person. He was more of a lead by example kind of guy when he first got here. It appears that he has grown more into that role. Am I out of bounds for saying that, or how have you seen him develop as a leader, or just as somebody who's more comfortable speaking his mind over the past 4 years?
Yeah, I think you kind of hit it on the head there with being comfortable. He's always been a guy who does the right things, like you said, kind of when he was young, more of a lead by example guy. But I think he's just gotten so comfortable in the last couple of years, and that comes with, there's a lot of factors that go into that. I think in this game, if you're playing really well in terms of your standards, it's easy to be confident and comfortable. And obviously, these last 2 seasons, he's played very well up to his standards. And I think when you're doing that, like I said, you're confident, you're comfortable, you can say what you want to say, you can be yourself around the guys. And there's other factors that go into it too, but I think when you play well and you're doing the right things, it's easy kind of just to be yourself and be more vocal to the surrounding guys.
How much have you enjoyed the creative ways that Jonnu Smith can get the ball in this offense, one of which was on display in that opening drive?
Yeah, he's a very unique player. He's a guy who obviously can play tight end very well, but he's almost built like a running back, and he can run the ball too. He can do a lot of things. So I think with a talent like that, it'll be fun, like I kind of mentioned earlier, with the staff that we have that kind of finds crazy ways to get players like that the ball in space. It'll be fun to see what he can do and what that comes for him. But he's a very unique player. I've never played with a talent as unique as that, and it'll be fun to see what he does throughout the year.
Did you guys learn about your short yardage offense in Friday night's game? I think you had 3 chances, 4, including the pass on 4th and 1.
Yeah. Obviously, I think in terms of success rate, it was 2 of 3 early in the game at least. That's something that we focused on in the last year, and I think that'll come with time in terms of seeing what our success rate is and how successful we will be. But it's something we've definitely focused on, and there's a lot of ways to attack short distances. You can spread people out. You can put 13 personnel, 22 personnel in the game. And I think we'll do a pretty good job of mixing up those approaches to it, and try to get better at something that we know we need to improve on from the last year or two.